Hello and welcome to another program. This is going to be an exciting one because we're going to be talking about how to pass different type of data to a, constructor when we're creating our own records. I'm sorry, when we create our own objects, not record. Record pertain to databases, but obviously we're going to be using here a record as well. So keep that in mind when we talk about that. I started in order to build our own understanding of I started with a simple, tiny little constructor or a class by the name students. This is going to be receiving three pieces of data first: age, and test. Obviously, test here is plural, so I'm going to be passing sometimes in the very, very near future multiple tests, but let's go ahead and test it only for one at this moment. And similar to what we have seen so many times, that this dot first is going to be the attributes or the property inside the constructor when actually inside the object when we created based on this constructor. So notice that this dot first is going to be accessible by all the methods that we're going to create it through the whole constructor. The same thing with this dot age, the same dot tests. All of them are going to be assigned the value that is going to be received when a new object is created. Of course, I know constructor is completed without methods. As you notice here, I have print data um, uh, assigned to the function in order to tell the constructor this is not an attribute, this is going to be a function, meaning it's going to be a method. And notice here I misspelled the word documents. I'm going to leave it on purpose in order to walk you through how to debug some of your code, because you could be spending like half an hour looking at an error, not being able to tell where did you find it, because there is no debugging mode immediately available for us. But it's right there. You could know where it is. I'll show it to you in a second. And I'm printing the first name, the age, and the test. Of course, this is what we're going to be referred to as the method. So here I created students one of types students by using a new word, so to give it an existence in the memory. I'm passing the first name at Jacob. This is the first, it's going to be received to the constructor students. Okay, that is going to immediately look inside the design of all the students with the capital S and start to behaving like it's supposed to. And 21 is going to be assigned to students dot age, and 30 is going to be assigned to dot test. So all these values are going to be inside students one in the memory. Obviously, also students one has a method. It's called print data, so I'll be able to access it. When I run this, program, as small as it is, I'm going to run it here, and it's going to give me no whatsoever uh, uh, result. That could be frustrating, especially when you spend so much time trying to make sure that you didn't mistype anything. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to debug this very quickly. I'm going to go into, there's a lot of shortcuts, but I don't want to really make it a very long video about debugging as much as I wanted to correct this issue. So it's going to be more tool, developer tool. And as you notice, we have one error in this here. So I'm going to click on it, as you notice. And the error, let me click on it here. All right, so somehow it's with the recording, we have to be very careful. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it is inside the viewable area. And it's really here, the error, obviously, 1 second here. So I also need to bring it directly here. And notice when I clicked on this error, it showed me the screen. Obviously, there is some error in this line that is underlined, and I could immediately tell this is spelled as a word. So that's something would be very helpful to keep. I'm going to push it out of my recording screen. I know where is my error, so I'm going to go ahead and edit my code again. I'm going to type document, okay, hopefully now with no misspelled. I'm going to save the changes, go to the launch it in Chrome, and as you will see here, lucky for us, we have seen Jacob 21 and 30. So at least we can see the result of all this, and we're going to continue to add more feature to the capability of the constructors when we do actually call it one more time with a different number of values. Let me go ahead and show you here what we're going to do. I'm going to push this in again out of side this. I'm going to stay with the we're going to maximize this so it'll be better for both. For I could switch back and forth between the editor and the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit larger. I hope I can resize it, maybe not at this point. All right. So I'll be able to switch back and forth between in the taskbar, I'm clicking Notepad++, and of course I'll be able to run it from in the run mode in order to get it. Here we go. This way I'll be able to show you, also make this a little bit bigger. Could easily also change the font size or through the style, and we could be in better shape. Anyway, I wanted to go ahead and add a different type of data to this constructor. So I'm going to basically have a first name and middle name. Let me go ahead and change this middle, and also last name. But I want to treat all these as one structure, which is going to be inside the student's one. It's going to be treated as a record. So how we do this, I'm going to create inside this one here. I'm going to go ahead and call it this is name. Okay, and the name is going to actually have, just like a structure in C programming, it's going to have this. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and say this, or actually we could say here first between single quotes with the colon here, and we're going to go ahead and say this is coming from the outside first. Then I'm going to have here middle. See that? Actually, this is not a semicolon. We use that. We run that the hard way. This is a comma. Okay. And the middle is going to be also giving the value that is going to be received through the constructor. And we're going to go ahead and call this middle. Okay, you could call it whatever you want. Another comma. Then we're going to have a last name, and again close that, and we're going to say here last, and no comma on the last one. Then we're going to have another brace and semicolon to indicate this is the end of my structure within my constructor. And age is still a single value. That test, regardless of how we're going to treat it as a single variable or arrays, I will show you that we're going to be able to do that as well in a second. So let's go ahead and change how we're going to actually call this, how we're going to call this array now. I'm going to go ahead and call it as Jacob. Then I'm going to go ahead and say D, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and say here Perez, okay? Not only this, I'm going to go ahead and change my mind about sending one single test grade. I'm going to go ahead and send 3 test grade. So we're going to go ahead and send all hundreds at this moment as an array with 2 brackets. So if I do want to expand my print data, which I'm going to be doing here, so instead of printing the first name, I'm going to go ahead, I have to go through this dot name first in order for me to print the first name. The same thing I'll have to do for the last. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it in order to copy. Here we go. I'm going to say Control V, change this to the last. Okay, which I could also do that for the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and change this also to the last. See, but remember, I have to go ahead and go through the dot name. The same thing for age. I could print the whole test all at once, and I will show it to you later. I'm going to be able to actually print that test only through a loop. But let's go ahead and not complicate it all at once. I'm going to be actually running this very quickly. Okay, I have another error. I'm going to go ahead and look into the setting here. Actually, more tool. I'm going to, let me go ahead and show you what I'm going to go here. Okay, more tool, developer tool, and I'm going to go ahead and it's one single error. Here we go, and it's all the way at the bottom. So we're going to click on it. There we go. All right. So with the error, obviously, it's where is that? here. All right. I'm looking at this while I'm waiting for me just for a second. And I'll be with you in a heartbeat. So looking at the code very carefully. Okay. I guess I missed something here. Let me go ahead and I'll show you here what I missed. Yeah, I missed something here, which is the equal sign after the name, which is good to make this mistake, so I will establish it clearly, as you notice from here. And oh, there is what it is. Here, right there. So I could see that first. And look here, all the tests are printed as an array. What about if I want to find the average of the test? Okay, and print it. So immediately I'm going to go ahead and you printed the test, but I'm going to go ahead and add another function inside the constructor. I'm going to say here print average. Okay, and this is going to be a function. Okay, and I'm going to open parentheses, braces, sorry, and I'm going to go ahead and say var I start with 0 because remember test is going to be passed as an array, and I'm going to say here for I is start with 0 as long as I is less than the this dot tests. Okay, that's how I access that test length, which is the property. And I'm going to say plus plus I plus plus in order to make me get me through the whole thing. Then I'm going to, of course, I'll go ahead and declare an accumulator by the name sum and initialize that to 0. Also, I need to go ahead and declare an average. Will be good to do it right now. And here we go. And we're going to say sum is plus equal, okay, the test with the index I, all right, because test is an array of scores. And this will allow me to do this. And notice that always safe to go ahead and say the average as I declared it there, average is going to be assigned to the sum divided open parentheses actually this test just to get that property from length from this one here. This is exactly what I need to do, and don't forget of course to return the value, or if you wanted to print it directly that's fine, but I'm going to go ahead and return it just in case I need to treat it as a single value. I want to print it through document dot write instead of printing the value directly from the own method. I like this fact that I could do whatever I want to do with the value whenever I want to display it, so I'm not controlled by the document dot write inside the print avg function. So here, this is going to print all the data as you see from this method, and I could go ahead and say documents, okay, dot write, and I'll say the average score, okay, is I'm going to go ahead and say plus, and it's going to be students 1, which has now expanded with a new method. It's called print average. Of course, 2 parentheses. I could go ahead and say 2 fixed if in case I needed to just have 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. And maybe it's a good idea to give it a new line. And here we go. So let's go ahead also if we have any mistake, because I'm doing everything in real time. I'm thinking it through. I wish you were here so you could ask me a new question and I could go ahead and write the function, still make a few mistakes here and there, but it doesn't matter because we learn from our mistake. And let me go ahead and see if there is there is no spawn. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and there is an error, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and look at this developer tool, so I'll be able to see all that. There's one mistake, as you notice. And let me go ahead and scroll this to the side so I don't have to blind you with all this. And there is one mistake right there. In the return, I left the return without returning anything. So I'm still in a hurry to finish this. No big deal. I'll go ahead and specify this very quickly. I need to tell it what it needs to return, which is going to be returning for me the average. See, very good to see the development tool and the ability to run this. Okay, let's go ahead and launch. Still, there is another error. No big deal. We're going to go ahead and do this one more time. Okay, students one.printavg to fix, and we'll see what's there is any mistake here. Okay, more tool not setting. We're going to go to developer tools, and we're going to see if there is any mistake whatsoever in this case, because I don't see any mistakes. So let me go ahead and run it one more time. Close that. Okay. All right, I do actually made it clear what the mistake. I forgot to save it, so I'm going to go ahead and save the change of my code. And when I run this, because it doesn't have any more mistake, the development assure me it has no mistake. And hopefully we'll get it through this. It's Jacob, it's Perez, it's the average score is 100 with 2. If I change this for whatever reason to something, just to make sure that we are able to see the changes as a result, but this time I'm going to go ahead and put maybe 6 tests or 5 tests instead of, let's go ahead and put 5 tests. So in this case, we could go ahead and save the change, not to forget to do that, then run this, and just immediately this is the changes. See here the test separated because I'm printing them all as a lump, which I could easily turn those in a table, one score at a time. But the average adjusted itself to the new score, and everything is going to be fantastic. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Watch it probably 2 or 3 times. Make a few mistakes here and there. That's the only way to learn. Thank you.